it is widely accepted that these two are the worst Thor movies, while others would argue that these two are the worst MCU movies. I gotta be honest, I don't think Thor Dark World is that bad. Its only offense is that it can be boring. It's like a lot of things happen, but nothing happens. Case in point, it just felt like filler. But for me personally, I don't mind it. I don't hate myself watching this movie. I can enjoy it for a simple popcorn flick, but my eyes do turn red when I watch Love and Thunder. I would argue that this is the worst MCU movie. Not only is it incredibly unfunny, and I never felt so embarrassed sitting down at a movie theater in my life, except when I saw the Lorax in theaters and movie 43. This movie completely ruins Thor's character arc. Thor having a sense of humor is one thing, much like in Thor Ragnarok. I always felt Thor got his sense of humor from spending a lot of time with his friends in the Avengers. But this Thor only cares about glory and how others perceive him. He just wants to show off. This is the reason why he lost his hammer in the first place in the first movie. Hell, in Thor Dark World, Thor remembered his lesson. Thor doesn't make these mistakes. He was humble and puts other people's safety first before anything else. But not this Thor. No. He just wants to dick around. I could rant about Love and Thunder all day. But something that has been bothering me for quite some time is that a lot of people want to put the very first Thor in the same bracket as these two other movies, labeling it as one of the shitty Thor movies. And I don't understand why, and believe me, I have searched for it. Almost every answer boils down to, I just wasn't feeling it. It was okay. And you can dislike a movie, but don't say it's bad simply because you don't like it. I mean, I wasn't too big of a fan of Talk to Me, but I'm not gonna rant about saying it's the worst movie of all time. It's not. It's a very good movie with a lot of fun sequences and a lot of really good moments and really good ideas, but it just didn't resonate with me, which should be fair. Why should I find problems that aren't there simply because I don't like it? Actually, if I had anything to say about it, it's the toe-sucking scene. But that's so bad it's good. And Thor's bleached eyebrows, which, we can make fun of that, but that is like the smallest excuse for a criticism I've ever heard. A nitpick is understandable, but you would deduct a point for that? Do you work for IGN? One valid criticism that I actually did found in regards to the first Thor movie was that there was too many Dutch angles, which I actually do agree. There is an overabundance of Dutch angles for no reason. Dutch angles are usually associated whenever something is wrong, something is going on, and a character is just discovering something bad is happening in the movie. So why does every scene have to be that way? But while I think this is a valid criticism, and I don't think that this movie is as good as Captain America: The First Avenger, the first Iron Man, the first Avengers, I still think it's a really good movie. I appreciate that this movie doesn't explore all the aspects of Thor's origin. We don't see where Mjolnir comes from. We don't see how Thor trains and blah, 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 blah. You know, typical superhero origin stuff, right? None of his parents die for him to become a superhero. That's later, but still, that's not his motivation to become a superhero. Thor is a good person, but he's full of himself. He's a bit arrogant and brash. He's a bit hot-headed. This is a guy who acts first and thinks second. This is a story about a boy inside of a grown man's body becoming a man, realizing that his actions do indeed have consequences. I just love this scene where after he fights all these S.H.I.E.L.D. agents, patting himself on the back thinking, oh yeah, I'm gonna get my hammer, go home, but he is quickly humbled when he finds out that it wasn't going to be that easy. When he attempts to pick up Mjolnir and it doesn't move. Not even an inch. Not even a Captain America budge. Nothing. Thor breaks down, realizing that his father was serious in punishing him. A spoiled brat getting exactly what he deserved. Even without a single line of dialogue, you realize what this meant for Thor. He can't go back home. He can't have his power. He can't see his family and friends anymore. Thor is defeated because he realized he wasn't worthy. And because of his time on Earth and actually taking the time to analyze his mistakes as a person, he was willing to sacrifice himself for others, not for glory, not to get into Valhalla, but because it was the right thing. And because he was willing to die for other people and not for his own ego, this is what made him worthy again. And let's leave alone Thor for a second. What about Loki? One of the greatest villains of all time, not just in superhero movies. This was a character who not only tried to screw over Thor and try to take over Asgard to rule everything, but this was a guy who wanted to make his parents proud. He wanted to prove that he was worthy of his parents' love by destroying Jotunheim, their sworn enemy. All the angles that they took Loki and made him a really well fleshed out villain. And this isn't just from the writing, this is also the acting. The acting is phenomenal, especially in this scene where Loki confronts Odin about being adopted, about being a frost giant, feeling like he's been lied to all his life. You feel the tension, you feel the hurt coming out from Loki, from Tom Hiddleston's performance. And the fact that even though he was angry at Odin, he was terrified that Odin was hurt, and he called the guards to help him because he was concerned for Odin's health and safety. This alone makes Loki a three-dimensional character, a well fleshed out character. There is no scene that is equal to this in Dark World and of course Love and Thunder. This is a movie that cares about its characters and about its story and not its placement in the MCU. All that stuff comes second or third. And it doesn't beat you to death with jokes after jokes after jokes. It is about the performance, about the writing, about the character's journey. This feels like a movie by people who gave a shit instead of just a corporate product. You don't have to like this movie. You can even say it did nothing for you. But don't say it's one of the shitty Thor movies.